we are eagerly looking forward to listen to Dr. Veerappa Moily. And Dr. Veerappa Moily doesn't need a introduction. He is the former Chief Minister of Karnataka, and he was the cabinet minister in central government also during UPA period. And he has held a very, very respectful or highly challenging positions like law ministry, corporate affairs, and petroleum ministry, whatever it is. Then he was holding the finance committee chairmanship during 16th Lok Sabha, last Lok Sabha. 84 reports he has submitted. What a wonderful thing. And not only he is a politician, he is also a literary man. He has written the Ramayana in Kannada, which has been translated in other languages and which has received a Sahitya Academy Award. And really, we are proud to have Dr. Veerappa Moily ji with us. And we are really honored to release the recommendations of Finance Committee also through Dr. Shri T.S. Krishnamurthy ji. Sir,
Mr. Srinivasan, you have forgotten to mention one item of Mr. Veerappa Moily ji.
Sir, please tell me, sir.
He was also chairman of Administrative Reforms Commission.
And yes, sir.
Many recommendations. Even they need to be looked at urgently and quickly, so that I hope some positive measures will be undertaken to improve the quality of governance and democracy in this country.
Yes, sir. Second Administrative Reforms Committee also. His profile is such a big, wonderful, very, very simple and down-to-earth person. And when I sent an invitation to some of the people, some of my friends, one Delhi bureaucrat sent a message to me that when Dr. Veerappa Moily was a minister, he used to carry even the people in the lift. He will carry all the people also, all the other staff members also along with him. He will talk to them. And such a simple man, down-to-earth person. And we are really grateful to you, sir. And you are one of the, both Mr. N.K. Premachandran and Dr. Veerappa Moily, both are inspiring leaders and parliamentarians for the younger generation. Dr. Veerappa Moily, sir. We would like to hear from you, sir. Dr. Veerappa Moily.
Yeah. Good evening to all of you. Jai Hind. Wishing all of you 75th Independence Day celebration. Yes, Krishnamurthy ji, our veteran reformer in the election commission, and a forward-looking visionary who is looking for more reforms in the election process. N.K. Premachandran has already rendered his illuminating address to us. It's really, quite enlightening and illuminating, and he's one of our best parliamentarians. Sri Srinivasan ji, founder, chairman, Prime Point Foundation and Samsad Ratna Awards Committee, who has given this valuable platform to all of us to share our views. C.S. Mohan, Sri Narendran, former chairman of the Indian Overseas Bank, and also other resource persons. In commemoration of the 75th Independence Day of India, I congratulate the Prime Point Foundation and Samsad Ratna Awards Committee for the launch of 2 e-book containing the compilation of the reports of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Finance, had by me in the 16th Lok teachers of Sri N. Ramachandran, brilliant speaker of the Parliament. On the suggestion of former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, Prime Point Foundation, in association with Samsad Ratna Awards Committee, has been honoring top performing parliamentarians with Samsad Ratna Awards since March 2006. We are informed that so far the 75 parliamentarians have received the awards in person. This includes some of the members who have received the awards more than once, one or two, or even 3 occasions. The Prime Point Foundation published its first ebook for the benefit of political science students and young politicians cutting across party lines of its 21st anniversary on 5th July 2021. They had the honor of releasing the ebook containing the select parliamentary speeches of Sri S.S. Ramasubbu, 15th Lok Sabha, and the ebook on Dr. S.K. Karvendaran, 14th Lok Sabha, was launched by Sri Hamsraj Ahe, former MOS Home Affairs. The 2 books brought out by Prime Point Foundation to commemorate the 25th Independence Day celebration of India being launched today is quite educative, enlightening, and laudable. Such endeavors will enthuse many future members of the Parliament to participate in the parliamentary process, debates, and discussions in the years to come. I should also congratulate my entire 3 members of the Standing Committee on Finance, the 16th Lok Sabha, especially Dr. Manmohan Singh and committee officials for bringing out a record of about 80 reports during my tenure, and all of them being unanimously passed by the members. The Standing Committee on Finance, a prestigious committee of Parliament, has under its jurisdiction the following ministries: Ministry of Finance, Departments of Economic Affairs, Expenditure, Financial Services, and Investment and Public Asset Management. The Department of Revenue, Ministry of Planning, Niti Aayog, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The following regulatory bodies also fall under the jurisdiction of the committee: Reserve Bank of India, Securities and Exchange Board of India, SAB, Competition Commission of India, CCI, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, IRDA, Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority, and Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. The functions of the Standing Committee as enumerated in Rule 33(1)(e)(1) of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business in Lok Sabha are as under: to consider the demands for grants of the concerned ministries, department, and make a report on the same to the House. To examine such bills pertaining to the concerned ministries, departments, as are referred to the committee by the chairperson, Rajya Sabha, or the speaker, as the case may be, and make reports thereon. To consider annual reports of ministries, departments, and make reports thereon. To consider National Basic Long-Term Policy document presented to the Houses, if referred to the committee by the chairperson, Rajya Sabha, or the speaker, as the case may be, and make reports thereon. Resume of work done by committee during 16th Lok Sabha. During 16th Lok Sabha, the committee held 114 sittings, deliberated for 259 hours and 25 minutes, with an average attendance of 15 members per sitting. The committee presented about 80 reports, of which 25 were on demands for grants, 10 on subjects, 34 action taken reports, and 4 on various legislative bills. The committee presented the following 10 reports on the original subject: planning process review, efficacy of regulation of collective investment schemes, TIT funds, etc., non-performing assets of financial institutions, state of rural and agricultural banking and crop insurance, review of NHSO and CSO, and streamlining of statistics collections machinery in the country, including management information system for project monitoring appraisal. Transformation towards digital economy, banking sector in India, issues, challenges, and the way forward, including non-performing assets, stress assets in the banks and financial institutions, central assistance for disaster management and relief, strengthening of the credit rating framework in the country, status of unaccounted income, wealth both inside and outside the country, a critical analysis, a preliminary report was also submitted. Committee presented the following 4 reports on legislative bills referred to the committee: the Binami Transaction Prohibition Amendment Bill 2015, Companies Amendment Bill 2016, the Chit Funds Amendment Bill 2018, the Banning of Unregulated Deposit Scheme Bill 2000. All these reports have resulted into acts. Committee also undertook 10 study visits and held 119 informal meetings during these visits on the subjects selected by the committee, as well as bills referred to the committee, with the representatives of regulatory bodies, organizations, and other stakeholders. Several observations made by members and important issues that emerged during the course of discussions were appropriately included in the reports presented by the committee, which was adopted unanimously. The committee's functioning was thus harmonious. In the course of examination of various subjects, committee generally pursues the following objectives: constructive and forward-looking recommendations for better implementation of existing policies, as well as formulation of alternate policies, improving the quality and nature of regulations and the functioning of regulatory institutions, serve as interface of Parliament with the finance system participants, to help galvanize the public machinery for better implementation of schemes and programs. Committee functioned in a non-partisan manner and in unanimity. All members got an opportunity to express their views freely in committee meetings. The committee ensured executive accountability to Parliament in an objective and democratic manner without any party bias. Most of the recommendations made by the committee were accepted by the government and generally acted upon. Such was the moral authority enjoyed by the committee, which made its function very effective. As the chairman of the committee, I encourage free and active participation of members in the deliberations of the committee, which was well accepted by all the members. I considered and took into account the suggestions of members while finalizing the reports of the committee, which thus made them broad-based. Even if some of the members wanted to remain quiet and passive, I always motivate them to, to participate in the discussion actively. The founding fathers of the Indian Constitution adopted parliamentary system of government by considering the fact that it will be more suitable to Indian pluralism and heterogeneous character. Indian Parliament has always contributed to the consolidation and strengthening of democratic ethos of our country. Romain Rolland, Nobel laureate, said once, and I quote, "If there is one place on earth where all the dreams of living men have found their home from the very earliest days when man began to dream of existence, it is in India." I think the parliamentarians will have to always remember this, and that kind of a unique character of India will have to be reflected in the parliament. Democracy and parliamentary institutions have endured in India for over 7 decades is a great tribute to our strength and resilience. However, in recent years, we have been witnessing a steady decline in quality debates in Parliament, devaluation of Parliament authority, deterioration in the conduct and quality of members, and poor levels of participation. Healthy debates and discussions, the hallmark of Indian parliamentary democracy, has been overshadowed by disruption, confrontation, forced adjournment of the houses, and adopting non-democratic alternatives. This has resulted in massive wastage of public money and eroded the confidence of the people in democratic setup. Jawaharlal Nehru once said, I quote, "Democracy means tolerance, not merely of those who agree with us, but of those who do not agree with us." With all my admiration and the love for democracy, I am not prepared to accept the statement that the largest number of people are always right. Unquote. Little effort has been done to develop the essentiality of prerequisites for the success of parliamentary polity, discipline, character, sense of public morality, and willingness to hear and accommodate minority views. Important issues such as poverty and unemployment are not discussed seriously in the parliament. The present practice regarding not discussing on the floor of the House reports of some of the important committees like Finance, Defense, and External Affairs, etc., has resulted in some very useful recommendations remain unappreciated and infructuous. It would be most desirable to discuss all important reports of parliamentary committees, particularly when there is a case of disagreement between committees and the government. Passing of bills in the parliament as money bills and enacting laws without adequate debate. Scrutiny has created much public debate. Most recently, the promulgation of farm reforms as ordinances, then rushing them to parliament has proved disastrous, resulted in unrest. All these shortcuts on the part of the working of Indian parliamentary democracy in recent times have raised many questions about functioning of parliamentary democracy. Jawaharlal Nehru, again, I would like to quote it. Nationalism cannot exist together with communalism. Nationalism does not mean Hindu nationalism, Muslim nationalism, or Sikh nationalism. As soon as you speak of Hindu, Sikh or Muslim, you do not speak for India. Each person has to ask himself the question, what do I want to make of India? One country, one nation, or 10, 20, or 25 nations. A fragmented and divided nation without any strength or endurance, ready to break to pieces at the slightest shock. Unquote. Parliament is the communication link between the people and the government. Bad public relations have resulted in a poor image of Parliament and of its members. In a democratic society, any privileges for a section of or class of the people are archaic. Any undefined privileges, like the privileges of Parliament, are even also so. These privileges should not be allowed to be used in such a manner as to nullify themselves and become right against people. Hence, it is of utmost importance that the instrument of parliamentary privileges be used with great circumspection. As an institution, Parliament should be able to take in its stride a great deal of criticism and adverse comments against it. Time has come to restore the confidence of the public and tenets of parliamentary democracy. Both the Parliament and the government should be collectively concerned with the concurrent and contemporaneous monitoring and evaluation of the implementation of economic reforms, scrutiny of the overall performances of the economy, targets, achievements, shortfalls, etc. Strict enforcement of code of conduct of people's representatives should be adhered to in order to keep the ethos of our parliamentary democracy intact. Members should shun their party affiliation while dealing with the issues affecting the common man and the nation. So I think I should be failing in my duty if I don't quote Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. I quote, constitutional morality is not a natural sentiment, it has to be cultivated and nurtured. Unquote. Last session, which concluded a few days back, was unfortunately a washout. It is the worst reflection of 75th year of otherwise glorious history of Indian Parliament. Because the consensus among the members of the Parliament, cutting across the party lines, is slowly becoming the thing of the past. Even otherwise, successful consensus building in the standing committee are slowly disappearing. The time has come for everyone to introspect our behavioral pattern, correct the time-honored healthy parliamentary ethics and practices. We should remember that alternative to parliament practice is autocracy and anarchy. I have found many of the brilliant views are slowly losing faith in debates as their enthusiasm and energy is being withered away. It may dissuade future aspiring youth in participating in parliamentary forum as frustrating exercise and dissuade them from utilizing this forum as a high pedestal of democratic spirit. Election process is being abused as money, caste, and religion are slowly becoming dominant factors. I, as a law minister of the country, conducted 7 national conferences across the country and derived at a consensus, to introduce the far-reaching reform. But the sought-after amendments are abortive, as our representatives in Parliament did not find them in tune with our selfish, short-sighted ambitions. If we continue with the present practice of elections, the honest representatives may become a rarity, and consequently the democratic forum may be diminished. On the eve of 75th Independence Day, I wish a healthy, prosperous, and a dynamic India. I quote Swami Vivekananda: every nation has a message to deliver, a mission to fulfill, a destiny to reach. The mission of India has been to guide humanity. Arise, awake, and stop, not till the goal is achieved. Jai Hind.
So what a wonderful speech, Dr. Koehli Saab. You have reflected many of our concerns, and really we are also equally concerned about the parliamentary. Now the parliamentary behavior is getting redefined. Even recently we saw one video published by the Hindu, when the teacher says, divides the students into 2 parts, the ruling party and the opposition, you should have a parliamentary behavior and discuss some of the issues. Then immediately the students started throwing arrows and throwing papers on each other. So that should not become the definition. And really, a day on the eve of 75th anniversary, both of you have expressed the concern. And now I think probably with people, senior people like you all, we should have another debate, how we can bring back the glory of Parliament. This is a serious concern for all of us as an ordinary citizen. We are also equally concerned. Now, how as a Sansad Ratna committee, how we can also play some a small squirrel role in that. And really, we are grateful to you, sir. Last month, we released 2 ebooks. One update is there. Mr. Dr. Karvendan's ebook also was released from BJP. Now the BJP Tamil Nadu chapter has taken it over, and they said that they want to print 500 copies. They have already printed the 500 copies, and then they want to release officially through the party office. And Mr. Ramasubbu's book also is got released through Dr. Veerappa Moily. I think there is some interest in Congress party also to release officially from the party office. And really, the political parties should also encourage such books, and they should reach political science students and young political leaders. And before we conclude, I would like to introduce our team who have all been behind this before going for the vote of thanks. And I would like to introduce some of the people who are behind this event. I would like to introduce Mr. T.N. Ashok. You can just say hello, unmute and say hello. So get introduced. T.N. Ashok. He's a senior journalist at Delhi, and he is a consulting editor of our e-magazine Presence. Ashok, I think he's muted. And Bhavnesh, can you just say hello?
Sir, Namaskaram, sir. Yes, sir. Namaskaram, sir. Bhavnesh here, sir.
Okay. Sridhar, Bhavnesh is the Vice Chairman of Sansad Ratna Committee. Mr. Sridhar, Secretary of the Sansad Ratna Committee. Sridhar.
Namaste, sir. Namaste, sir. Namaste.
Just switch on the camera. And Srinivas Gopal is the technical person behind this entire show. Srinivas Gopal is
hello, sir. Hello,
technical.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Nandini is the Joint Secretary of Sansad Ratna Awards Committee. Where is Nandini?
Sir.
Say hello.
Hi, sir.
And Mr. Mohan, and he's one of the leading chartered accountants and Vice Chairman of the Sansad Ratna Awards Committee.
Namaskar.
And I request Mr.